Welcome back.
Yo, oh Dan, nice job grabbing first. Good to see you this morning. How you doing, bro?
Welcome back.
Snatched it. Get out! Oh man, I'm so scratchy. I literally just got a while ago. I'm running so late today. My goodness. Alright, we gotta work that out. No, come back. You're still in the lead on most subscribed. Longest subscription streak and time. Been playing some Death Stranding 2 and loving it? Nice. Very cool. Okay. Well, I think we are good to go. Just start talking about some game news. Friday edition. How are we doing this morning, chat? Everybody doing good? Ready for the weekend? If you're in the United States, we have Snowpocalypse 2026 hitting most of us this weekend. If you're prepared, I hope you are. You want the shades right before game news. Wow. They're not super compatible with rats. What is going on? What's up, Brent? Alright, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Happy... What day is it? Friday. Happy Friday. Like I was saying, I hope you're prepared for Snowpocalypse 2026 if you're in the east or southeast United States regions, because it's supposed to get rough officially starting today. All of our grocery stores were slammed over the last few days, kind of comically so. I do think it's going to get cold. I just don't think it's going to be super terrible. Just for a sec. But yeah, we got the game news this morning. Cup is so tall. It just takes up so much space. Anyway, yeah, we got game news, so I'm excited. Quite a bit to talk about. Ubisoft is, well, in trouble, it seems. But yeah, let's grab another playlist, and we'll jump into it. Make sure all my things are focused where they need to be. All right. I'll drop her in news mode. And get started. How many points for whole game news with the Pikachu mask? 1 million. I don't know. I don't know, dude. That may be a sub goal, right? Start saving. That might be a sub goal. Yo, Shadow Advance, good to see you. All right, well, let's get started on the game news. Over this last week, we've got quite a bit of news. It's been interesting. Ubisoft is apparently struggling and decides to do a major shakeup. We've also got a lot of info on Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 version. They've dropped a 5-minute trailer, which we're not going to watch here on this show. But we'll talk about the highlights, some of the announcements from that. And we also have a Nintendo Direct coming up, all about the Mario Galaxy movie on a Sunday. I don't know if I'll do a live react to it. Probably not, because it's a movie. Just gonna say, but let's jump in. Let's start with the Nintendo news while we're looking. Super Mario Bros. Wonder meetup in Bella Bell Park arrives on Switch 2 in March, so we got a release date, which I think we had a window. It was going to show up spring of this year. They dropped a 5-minute trailer talking about all the features and stuff. And I watched most of it. It's fine. Looks like a good addition. I need to play Mario Brothers Wonder some more. But the new trailer showcases a bunch of new features that will be arriving in the 2023 platformer. First up is the Game Room Plaza, a location for some multiplayer mayhem, which will offer 6 different attraction minigames to be played either locally or online with up to 12 people. That sounds cool. The Toad Brigade occupy a new area called Camp Central, where you can participate in training challenges to hone your skills, earn patches, and raise your brigade ranking. Seems kind of neat. The trailer also gives us another look at the Koopalings, the notorious baddies that stolen the Bella Bell flowers and scattered them across the map. So add that to the list of collectibles as you make your way across the levels. And speaking of familiar faces, Rosalina is now available as a playable character in the Switch 2 edition. You can even control Luma as a co-star in co-op, where mouse mode is an option. Oh, that's some neat additional functionality. As if that wasn't enough, the trailer wraps up with a big reveal that 3 Wonder Amiibo will be launching alongside the Switch 2 edition on March 26th, which is kind of cool, you know. And we'll look at those too, which are right here. So we've got Elephant Mario stuck in the pipe, Poplin and Prince Florian, and then Captain Toad and a Talking Flower Amiibo. It's, you know, some good designs. I don't know what the pricing looks like on them. They don't seem to be giant like the Kirby Air Riders and the Metroid Prime 4 Amiibo, but they might be. They could be. But they look good. They look good. And then we also got a Talking Flower like IRL thing. It'll talk randomly to you. I don't know about this. I watched the trailer for it. Again, you guys can go look it up. It's funny. This seems like it might be obnoxious. I don't know that I would ever pick this up, but it is a neat little like collectible that'll probably be scalped and then hard to get in like 5 years, you know, and be worth like some money or something. I don't know. But yeah, Nintendo just decided, hey, we're gonna announce a bunch of stuff this week related to this, and then that culminates into today. Mario Galaxy Movie Direct announced. So we have a new Nintendo Direct, which everybody, you know, we always wait on, but now we know it's just on the Mario Galaxy Movie. First revealed through the Nintendo Today app, this upcoming Direct will take place 9 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, January 25th. The second straight Nintendo Direct event to specifically be about the movie. The last one took place on November 12th and gave fans a first look at the new trailer, along with introducing Bowser Jr. and Rosalina to the film. The next Direct is likely to give a new trailer, the reveal of new characters, and possibly the stars who voice them. There are rumors and leaks suggesting Yoshi will also be in the movie, but the green dinosaur is yet to be seen on camera. Mario Galaxy Movie is a sequel to 2023's Super Mario Bros. Movie. And so, yeah, as we get closer to that April date for release, we're going to start seeing the marketing ramp up, and I think this is the first step of that. You know, I won't do a react to it because that's... one, it's early on a Sunday, and I'm usually on my way to church by then, so I'm not gonna it depends though. If we don't have morning service, I might could do a react. I don't know though, because like with the movie stuff, the copyright stuff hits harder, right? So I don't want to necessarily risk getting a video strike because I'm watching a reaction to or reacting to a live event, you know. And so yeah, it's gonna be what it is. I don't imagine this being like major reveal stuff, just another trailer and more hype for the movie. Can you really use the phrase on camera for a fully animated movie? Yes, because there is a camera. It's just a virtual camera. All right, more Nintendo news. Mario Kart World gets a free update. And we'll just scroll down to the changes. Which here we go. The patch news. I guess we can talk about it. So they posted on X. Team battles have come to Knockout Tour in Mario Kart World, which is my favorite mode in Mario Kart World. It's very fun. Drive to survive with or against friends in 2, 3, or 4 teams online via local, wireless, or over LAN play. So it's cool. 50 points are awarded to player finishes first, 40 for second, 35 for third. Bottom 4 players who get eliminated at the first checkpoint only score a single point. That's interesting. Okay, so anyway, the patch notes are added team races to Knockout Tour when playing in a room during online and wireless play. The game now supports Polish language. Fixed an issue where the game would sometimes end if a player plays as Kamek on Chaco Mountain. Fixed an issue where the displayed rating would sometimes be incorrect when joining everyone in online play while in a room. Several other issues have been addressed to improve gameplay experience, which we'll never know what those actually are. Starting while I'm in a meeting again? You gotta think about it. Dude, you're right. I am. That's exactly what's going on, Denali. Welcome in. But yeah, that's a good change. Knockout Tour would be, like the team mode seems like it'd be more fun if you want to play with friends, and it's not, you know, yeah, it's not like just free for all and everybody's trying to game the system. Just be on a team. But anyway, good update. I'm glad they're still updating it. I'm still waiting on the DLC. We'll see what happens. All right, and then I thought this was neat. Small bit of news. Official, Pokemon is coming to Universal Studios. A permanent Pokemon attraction is officially coming to Universal Studios. In a press release, the Pokemon Company and Universal Studios announced that the multi-billion-dollar franchise will join Nintendo, Harry Potter, and other properties at the Japan and US theme parks in the form of an interactive experience. Based on hyper-realistic experience that stimulates all five senses, it will bring the Pokemon world to life in an unprecedentedly interactive and rich way, an announcement reads. So that's kind of cool. If it's anything like Nintendo World, it's going to be awesome, which I'm pretty sure it would. There's no reason to doubt that this wouldn't be a good collab. Universal knows how to do parks, and Nintendo leaning on them makes a lot of sense. So that's cool. All right, well, let's move on. All right, let's recap. We did a reaction to the developer direct from Xbox yesterday. It was super cool. We got some release dates, release windows for stuff. We got some band stalking Denali. All right, you're right. I should stop. But yesterday we got the developer direct from Xbox. We got some release dates and windows for Fable, Forza Horizon 6, Beast of Reincarnation, and Kiln, which was the surprise announcement, which personally was kind of a letdown. It doesn't look like the kind of game that I don't know. It just doesn't look like it has lasting potential to be as like this multiplayer focused thing. But let's look at what they announced, and we'll just give a quick recap for anybody that missed it. Beast of Reincarnation, which is from Game Freak, people that make Pokemon, launching summer 2026. This game looks awesome. It's like an action RPG situation. It looks super fun. Fable, we got a closer look at gameplay and everything. Looks really good. Looks like they're holding true to the series that we all got on the original Xbox back in the day. It looks really good. It looks a lot better than when they first showed it. I'm not gonna lie. Forza Horizon 6 launching May 19th, 2026 on everything but PS5 and Switch 2, and then it's gonna come later to PS5, probably fall of 2026. Did I say 2025? I don't know. Too many numbers. It's coming to PS5 later this year. So it'll be out in spring, May, for Xbox and PC people, and the PS5 will get it later in the year. Kiln, which was the surprise announcement, is a multiplayer game from Double Fine, the people that made Psychonauts and, well, mostly Psychonauts, right? They announced it. They seemed like, really excited about this game. I just don't know. Looking at the trailer and stuff and the gameplay they showed, this looks okay. That's all I'm going to say about it. It was cool though. There's a lot to look forward to from Xbox this year, but it was nice to get some release dates and windows on this. Paladin, they also made They did make Grim Fandango. I forgot they made that. But yeah, it was a good direct from Xbox. It was nice to see Fable in a good spot. The character customization looks really good. Just with what they showed with the original tease where they were showing some cinematics and stuff, and they showed the character, and it was just like, what is this? What are we making here? It didn't look very appealing. And then now they've shown more on it. That's the design. Some of the visuals have come forward a good bit since that last tease we got. It does look good. But I think my biggest highlight from it was Beast of Reincarnation. Looks fantastic, and I can't wait to try it. That's the game I'm looking most forward to. But all right, Now let's talk about our cover stories here. Starting with breaking: Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake canceled. I have been looking forward to this remake for a long time, and high key excited for Forza. It does look really good. I always like Forza Motorsport, or Forza Horizon, I should say, and this one looks great. It does look great. Okay, let's get rid of the ad. All right, Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake has been canceled. The decision comes as the company announced a major restructuring. It also means 5 other games are canceled, including 3 new IPs and a mobile game. Ubisoft says the cancellations were a result of the games not meeting the new enhanced quality, as well as more selective portfolio prioritization criteria at group level. So we'll talk about this restructuring in just a second. But this cancellation, it hit kind of hard because they were gonna, like, they were teasing this and talking about this remake for what felt like years, and a lot of people were looking forward to this game coming back in a big way, because this was Ubisoft's like Metroid Prime, right? Like Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time was big on the PlayStation and Xbox, PlayStation 2 and Xbox. It really made the franchise relevant back in the early 2000s, and then they tried to revamp it yet again when it came to 360 with that Prince of Persia. I forgot what year it came out, but that's how it's known. And it didn't land so well, and so the IP's been quiet for a long time, and we got wind of this remake a few years ago, and they said, yeah, we're working on it. They even announced it like officially, and every so often we'd get like a tease, like, yeah, it's still coming, and then now it's just gone. So this is terrible, right? Like, I wonder what quality they were looking for, and I'm willing to bet we would have liked it, whatever state it had launched in. I'm sure it would have been great, given as much time as they've spent on it. However, I feel like they maybe couldn't monetize it the way Ubisoft wanted them to monetize, with like microtransactions or season passes or something, and that meant the quality was actually lower because the shareholders would have been disappointed. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Huge bummer, though. I was looking forward to it. Now I just kind of want to go pick up the trilogy on the original Xbox and replay them that way. That's what we might do. We might do that. Maybe on PC. I don't know. Anyway, so more on Ubisoft. They detailed this major company reset: 6 games canned, 7 delayed, and 2 studios closed. So let's talk about it. Organizational restructuring, which has been in the works for a year, is designed to help the French publisher reclaim its creative leadership and drive a sharp rebound, it said on Wednesday, following a turbulent few years of disappointing game launches and plummeting stock value, which recently resulted in a minority sale to Tencent. As a result, 6 games have been canceled, 7 delayed, and 2 studios closed, the company confirmed during a media briefing attended by VGC. 6 canceled games did not meet Ubisoft's new enhanced quality expectations, it said, including the much-delayed Prince of Persia: Sands of Time remake, a mobile title, and 4 other unannounced games, including 3 original IPs. In addition, Ubisoft said it's delayed 7 games to ensure they meet quality expectations. It did not say which games had slipped, but confirmed that the 7 titles include 1 title that was planned for release before April 2026, which will now be released before April 2027. Is that Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake pushed to next year? Ubisoft has conducted a thorough review of its content pipeline over December and January, the company said. This has led to the strategic decision to refocus its portfolio, reallocate resources, and comprehensively revise its roadmap over the next 3 years. This will support the objective to return to exceptional levels of quality on the open-world adventure segment and step change the group's position in the games-as-a-service native experiences segment. Gross. 2 studios were closed as part of the reset, Ubisoft said. It's Halifax and Stockholm studios, which were previously announced. During a web call attended by VGC, the company said it would consider selling other assets but did not provide any specific details. Ubisoft is also accelerating its cost reduction initiatives, it said, and is now aiming to reduce its fixed costs by an additional $200 million over the next 2 years. The company wouldn't comment directly on the number of layoffs that could happen as a result of restructuring and cuts, but regarding canceled projects, CFO Derek Frederick Dujut. Don't know. It's French. There are some people who will be refocused on other big projects and may leave the company. Yikes. As previously confirmed, Ubisoft's new operational model will be structured around multiple independent creative houses, the first of which is Vantage Studios, the subsidiary part owned by Tencent, which opened last year. I'll oversee Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry. That seems like three big franchises to put under one division, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. On Wednesday, Ubisoft detailed the other creative houses for the first time, each organized around a distinct genre. They are in addition to Vantage Studios. So here we got a graphic. So Vantage Studios, Creative House 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's weird. All right, so Creative House 2, dedicated to competitive and cooperative shooter experiences, including The Division, Ghost Recon, and Splinter Cell. Oh no. Creative House 3, which will operate a roster of select sharp live experiences such as For Honor, The Crew, Riders Republic, Brawlhalla, and Skull and Bones. Are those not... it's so weird. I thought those were like games as a service games. Do I not understand? Did Ubisoft change the definition of games as a service? Creative House 4, which will focus on fantasy worlds and narrative-driven universes like Anno, Might and Magic, Rayman, Prince of Persia, and Beyond Good and Evil. And Creative House 5, which Ubisoft says is aimed at reclaiming our position in casual and family-friendly games in brands including Just Dance, Uno, and Hasbro. In addition, Ubisoft has 4 new IPs currently in development, including the recently acquired MOBA game March of Giants, which it says will be assigned to a creative house at a later stage. Each of the creative houses will have its own leadership and end-to-end responsibility for its portfolio, from development to publishing and financial accountability, which Ubisoft hopes will make it better, faster decisions and lead to more hit games. I guess. All right, this is a lot more on this whole transformation, but let's see. Let's see what the CEO says. On the one hand, the AAA industry has become persistently more selective and competitive with rising development costs and greater challenges in creating brands. On the other hand, exceptional AAA games, when successful, have more financial potential than ever. In this context, today we're announcing a major reset build to create the conditions for a return to sustainable growth over time. Transforming Ubisoft's operating model to produce exceptional quality games on 2 core pillars of our strategy: open world adventures and games as a service native experiences. At the center of this transformation are creative houses, integrated business units now combining production and publishing and therefore unifying the gamer relationship. Okay, that sounds like a lot of business words. Basically, total restructuring, and that'll lead to layoffs and other issues, which the market did respond. Ubisoft shares crashed by 30% after restructuring news. When a corporation does a major restructure like this, there's a lot of concerns about where things are as a whole, and so it's not surprising to see shares tank a little bit, because it's like, oh no, they're restructuring this badly, they've canceled this many projects, you know, something else must be going on, which we've seen Ubisoft struggle for the last few years. And it's like, it's simple, just make good games that people want to buy and support, you know, your games long term. I think that would, you know, the formula's there. It's fairly simple. But it is harder now than ever before to get people to come check out a new IP or even a new entry in a series with so many long-running games that aren't made by Ubisoft. So let's see what the shares are doing. As revealed on Google Finance, Ubisoft shares have decreased by 33.78% today as of the time of this writing. The day began with a share price of €5.26, which now has fallen to €4.44. Over the past 6 months, the shares have declined by more than 50%. I kind of feel like now would be a time to maybe buy Ubisoft if you're a fan, but that's not financial advice. I'm not an expert, but it just seems like now would be a smart decision. Buy the dip, you know. The drop comes immediately after the announcement of an organizational, operational, and portfolio reset, which led to the cancellation of highly anticipated titles like Prince of Persia Remake. The restructuring has also led to the closure of multiple studios and layoffs across the organization. And yeah, we just talked about all of that. And it's again, when you see a major restructure like that, it's concerning. Hey, Dragon Racer, what's up? Come on, making good games isn't nearly as profitable as bad games with lots of monetization. Silly gamer. Yikes, Denali. You hit the nail on the head. Shareholders like when you make a bad game and save money in the process, but somehow still convince people to buy it. Looking at you, Activision, with Call of Duty Black Ops 7 this year. What was that? That was garbage. But anyway, yeah. Maybe they'll recover, but that will depend on what they can put out over the next year or so. It depends on what was already in the pipeline set to release that isn't going to encounter a major delay because of the restructuring. Like, I think that's the biggest thing, is if the restructure worked and now these teams are more focused than ever before, can they put out good stuff? And that remains to be seen, right? Because the existing projects that were slated for this year or early next year, are they delayed, and by how much? And if Ubisoft doesn't put out a game this year, that's going to be rough for them. That's going to hurt even more. So that's, you know, I don't know. They said they were planning this for over a year, taking a look at everything. And I don't know. I don't know why they. I mean, we all know why they've been suffering lately, but it's like, why would you make these decisions back to back that cause this crap to happen? You know, because that's what it is. It's just garbage decision making by Ubisoft and their leadership. You know, make a good Splinter Cell again. Think about what was successful and do it now. You know, because it will still work. Gamers are simple creatures. The top 5 games played between 2024 and 2025 were the exact same games. We don't necessarily need shiny new thing. We like shiny new thing, but we want it to be good. Black Ops 6 is bad too. They could at least let us keep purchases. Black Ops 7. Don't get me started, man. The whole Call of Duty platform and IP needs a major rework and revamp, and I'm hoping it comes sooner rather than later. But anyway, all right, let's move on. Sucks to be Ubisoft right now. I'm sure it's scary there. Early middle 2000s peak for gaming. No, I agree. All right. Fable is in consideration for Switch 2, it's claimed. So we talked about Fable 2 coming to everything sometime this year in fall. The upcoming Fable reboot is in consideration for the Nintendo Switch 2, according to an Xbox insider. Playground Games' Fable finally received some gameplay yesterday at Xbox's Developer Direct, along with a concrete release window. The title is releasing for Xbox, Series X and S, PC, as well as the PlayStation 5 on release day. It seems developers may have another platform in mind, but it isn't 100% confirmed yet. Fable on Switch 2 isn't 100%, but there's a chance. So that's kind of cool. We don't need to dive into too much of that because the statement is pretty much what it is. And we know it's coming to everything but Switch 2. But it would make sense for it to launch there. Switch 2 is a solid platform. And with some graphical reduction, I'm sure the game would be just fine. You know, maybe it'll be one of those ports like The Witcher, where it's like, oh, this would never happen. And then they got it working on the Switch 1. It's like, wow, it actually is pretty good. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. All right. I forgot to put these in order, but the human cost. So Insider Gaming has a write-up. Ubisoft's next cost-cutting measure could see another 2,000 plus jobs lost. So with the announcement of its massive restructuring, closing down studios, delaying projects, but one of the biggest announcements for the most part has been overlooked by many. I am, of course, talking about the human impact of the recent restructuring and recently announced cost-cutting measures aimed to save the publisher an additional 200 million euros by the end of March 2028, which could result in thousands of more developers losing their jobs. According to Ubisoft, this will be the third and final phase of its cost-cutting and will end by March 2028. That is not March 28th of this year. March 2028. Ubisoft is still going through its second phase, which started 4 years ago and was a 300 million euro cost-cutting measure. In that time, Ubisoft has decreased its headcount from 20,729 as of September 2022 to 17,097 as of September 2025. a reduction of 3,632 developers. Ubisoft London, Osaka, San Francisco, Leamington, Halifax, and Stockholm have all closed their doors. More layoffs at the company will also be announced on February 12th, 2026, which is not good. Yeah, so I'm not going to read the rest of this article either, but that's yikes. You know, we're always talking about layoffs. It seems every week we have some layoffs to announce, and these might be the worst ones that haven't happened yet. So I guess we'll know in February. Still, huge bummer. Not looking forward to seeing what happens there. Yikes. And that's going to happen when a company restructures like that, major changes start happening. There's not a whole lot, the employees can do. It's a shame that the management decisions, leadership decisions at Ubisoft have brought them to this point. All right, let's move on. I think this is the last article. CD Projekt Red could spend up to $800 million on The Witcher 4, it's estimated. Now, an analyst has predicted that CD Projekt Red could end up spending close to $800 million on the development and marketing of The Witcher 4, which is the next big entry in the Witcher series from CD Projekt Red. It's currently what I think their heads down on after focusing on Cyberpunk 2077. And so that's kind of cool. I do have one more article I needed to pull up, but I can't. I got to go look for it. So pardon me while we peruse my X feed real quick. So much to see. I really got to clean up my Twitter feed. A lot of these political things I don't even read anymore. I just roll right through them. Let's see. I know it was here this morning. Let's see if we can find. I know who posted. Colt Eastwood posted about it. And so I wanted to pull up the article and read it. Let's see. WCCF Tech had the article. So, PlayStation 6 likely to be delayed longer than many expected, leaving prices the only things that will keep evolving and not for the better. So, this is in regards to all of the components and RAM shortages that we've been seeing. I may need to zoom the page in for you guys. There. That way you read along with me. All right, with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S generation having entered its 6th year, many are expecting to get the first glimpse of the next generation of consoles soon, in light of the expected 2027-2028 release window for both systems. However, we are living in very challenging times. I feel like we've been in very challenging, very unique, very, just put a descriptor there that doesn't sound too positive. We've been in these times for approximately 10 years now, it seems, and it doesn't seem to be improving at any pace. And this is like globally. I'm not saying individually. Like individually, I feel like I'm good. Things aren't like the easiest they've ever been, but what good is that going to do anyway? But anyway, living in very challenging times for console manufacturers who must deal with the current economic situation, soaring RAM prices as they prepare the PlayStation 6 and next generation Xbox. Although neither Sony nor Microsoft has openly addressed the situation, which is expected to remain challenging for a few years at best, it is very likely to impact their next generation plans significantly. So much so that a known analyst is expecting the PlayStation 6 to be delayed from the expected 2027-2028 release date, which makes sense. A new report posted on Sandstone Insights in Japanese. Respected senior research analyst at MST Financial David Gibson shared some predictions on Sony's third quarter of the current fiscal year. While the report looks at Sony's entire operation, including the television and music businesses, the observations on the company's gaming division are the most interesting. For the third quarter, Sony's results are expected to beat market expectations, driven by sales of both in-house and third-party games. These results will likely make it easier for Sony to extend the current console generation, as Sony expects the PS5's life cycle to be extended, with the PlayStation 6 likely to be delayed longer than many expected. While a delay of the next console generation isn't something we're hearing this month for the first time, the prediction coming from an expert analyst definitely gives more weight to the prospect. However, a longer delay into 2029, 2030, or even beyond would make this scenario very peculiar for the console industry, as Sony and possibly Microsoft will be sitting on hardware that will be outdated by 2030. I don't think that matters as much anymore, because if you think about how games are running and just where tech is right now, potato specs are still popular. And even if I look at the Switch 2, look at the Steam machine, they're not the over the top high spec machines, but they are very capable and very, games look really good, games run well. I really think that the most powerful console ever arguments are going to matter a lot less. In the same way the Xbox Series S outsold the Series X because it's cheaper and still runs next generation or current generation games. People aren't as concerned about the latest cutting edge tech as you'd think. And so the delay isn't going to be that big of a deal. And even if the next generation PlayStation or Xbox is outdated at the time of launch, that happens every time anyway. It literally doesn't matter. So that argument's it's a little like nothing to it. It's no big deal. This wouldn't be completely unprecedented given that Switch 2 successfully launched in 2025, later than even Nvidia expected, and without cutting-edge technology, but it would still be new for both Sony and Microsoft. And under current conditions, it will likely be preferable to delay new systems rather than release them at a very high price that wouldn't make them compelling to the price-savvy console audience. If the PlayStation 5 generation is extended beyond expectations, and with no change to the current situation, the outlook is dire for gamers. Is it? The only things that are evolving constantly are the prices. They go up and up and up and up, says Ashen Wander on the Resetta forums, echoing a good portion of the PlayStation community sentiment, torn between wanting to get their hands on the PlayStation 6 and the rumored handheld, and having to pay exorbitant price Sony would have to release with a launch within the next 2 to 3 years. So yes, it will be expensive if they rush it or keep it on track for the current dates, while being technically relevant, or delay it, make it technically irrelevant, which it won't matter. People will buy it anyway. And maybe there's a third option. Maybe there's the chance that they could delay it and up the specs a little bit, mature maybe wait for the production pipelines to get back to normal for, RAM and storage and stuff. Hey, Weekend Tacos, good to see you. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to cover that because I thought it was interesting that, we might see a delayed PS6, but I feel like we've barely tapped what the PS5 and the Xbox Series X can actually do. I feel like games are pushing the hardware, but not all the way. And even then, the PS4 is still supported right now, right? So what would the PS5 extended life cycle even be if not just in line with what we expect right now? And that's it. That's where I'll leave the news today. So that's it. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I appreciate you being here. What you guys think of that? If you're watching this after the fact, thanks for checking out the stream. I hope you leave a like or a comment on the YouTube VOD for this stream. And yeah, thanks for hanging out. Anyway, I will be live later today on the Gaming Roundtable podcast, which doesn't show up on my channels. It's on everybody else's. Well, it's on Ginger Prime's channels because it's his podcast. But we'll find somebody to raid on Twitch. Again, I appreciate you guys showing up. I hope you're all having a great Friday. If you're in a spot affected by the weather, please stay safe. Please, hopefully you have made your preparations for the weekend. It's going to be cold. It's going to be icy. I went and bought a generator for the first time ever, and we've been needing one because we've lost power for days before, and, that's never fun. But anyway. Let's find somebody to raid. Let's see. Who's live? I don't even know. You know what? I'm not fooling with the raid this morning. I love you guys. Y'all have a great day, and I'll see you on the Gaming Roundtable, and hopefully Sunday night we'll have a stream. Bye.
Welcome back.